Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Good evening, everyone. I like to welcome all of you to Clause YouTube channel, the Strategic Frontlines. And today we have with us Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, PVSM, AVSM, NMN Bar, retired. He's an expert in Indo-Pacific geopolitics and strategic issues. We have with us Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, PVSM, UYSM, AVSM, VSM, retired. He's an expert on strategic issues, national security, and geopolitics. And finally, we have Dr. Meena Roy. She's an expert in West Asia. I welcome all of you to this podcast.
Thank you.
Today, we will discuss the consequences of the American attack on Iran's nuclear facility and how it is going to pan out. Now we know that the cards are out. The US has become an active partner and has attacked directly. Till now, we were all debating when this thing is going to come out. So before we start to discuss all those things, I would like to ask first General Sharma. We find that the US used its 7 B-2 bombers using 12 bunker bomber busters, which has a payload of about 40,000 pounds or 18,000 kilograms. And it can go up to 6,000 kilometers without refueling. The most important thing was that it hit Fordow nuclear facility, which was the most important nuclear facility of Iran, as it is shown. And it can hit at 60 meters. That is an important fact, because a lot of debate is being going on that the actual nuclear facility is at 90 meters and below. So there are questions being asked that whether actually the damage has been as potent as it is being portrayed as, because till now they have said that there has been no leak. So the contamination is not there. So if we see that, then there can be only three options. Either the uranium has been removed, as the Iran is saying that it might have been removed to Bushehr or to other site, or the 90 meters, since it is there, so actually the catastrophe is not that much, or they are trying to hide the contamination. So my question to you is, what are your views on this? And secondly, what are the options Iran has? Do they have the capabilities to hit the American bases? What are your views on that?
Thank you, Dr. Roshan. I can take about half a night answering your simple questions that you asked. Okay, and of course, as at this juncture, not many things are also known. But let's make a informed discussion on the issues that you have raised. Now, the Americans used 125 aircrafts totally in one night, which is a very large. Some are decoys, some are deception. They were flying all over the world. And these aircraft, they flew from Missouri, B-2s who came to hit it, and to these two sites that they were hitting, which is Fordow and Nance. And Isfahan was hit by Tomahawk missiles, which came from a submarine. So there are two separate issues. Tomahawk missiles fired first, 32 of them, even before the B-2 bombers hit these two targets. Now, you have put about the facts and figures very nicely, that there is a possibility of not reaching the depth at which the facility has been created. And of course, there are also Maxar technologies shown that yesterday or last few days, there were 15, 20 vehicles parked there in Fordow, which were probably taking out the fissile material from there, which all could have been possible. So, I mean, these are all realms of conjectures, and we do not know as to what has been done. Today morning, when President Trump spoke, he said that the nuclear program has been obliterated. I quote him. He used the word obliterated, which means it's gone. That they were able to destroy the facility, Fordow. Fordow is the most important one, and of course, it's fun. Now, in the evening, when the chairman, Joint Chief of Staff, was speaking, and he was asked this question by the by a press fellow, that have you been able to destroy the nuclear facilities? His answer was not obliterated. His answer was different altogether. What did he say? He says that we hit the target we meant to hit and the way they wanted to hit. So they probably had these two sites, or probably the AC chambers or something like that. They hit one and they hit the second one in tandem, and they hope that to reach the area and entomb everybody there. But it will finish it across there. Nothing will come out. There are tunnels and tunnels. Isfahan also has tunnels and tunnels. Nansets also have tunnels and tunnels. So they have been probably entombed. Now, how much is possible to be done? There were earlier information which was floating around which said that while the Iranians were constructing these facilities underground, they also anticipated that Tora Bora can happen. The Tora Bora had the mother of all bombs, not these ones, not GBU 57s, but they had mother of all bombs, huge ones. So they had created deflectors inside the construction. So when this bomb strike, it gets deflected, but it doesn't go down straight. See, finally, this huge 30,000 kgs has only about 3,000 pounds of explosive. Rest is solid steel that is supposed to break down going down. Now, if the steel gets deflected, then when the explosive blows, it goes into a different direction. And you are not guaranteed the second bomb that comes across in tandem goes and hits the right place. We don't know. It's all a matter of conjecturing. Suffice it to say that some damage would have been. Any country like Iran, who knew that President Trump has gone back from G7, and there is something in the offing, and they would remove the fissile material. I mean, I would say they can't refuse the centrifuges. Centrifuges to dismantle and then reinstall is a Herculean task. They can't do it. It can't be done. So we deem it that of the fissile material, an odd guess is that they could have the capacity to make 1 to 5 bombs now also, even if it is not 80% or maybe partially 80% enriched fissile material is available, and they could have in 6 months larger capacities. When the third cycle of the centrifuges would have worked, then they would have had larger capacity to make it. One doesn't know whether they were making it or not. This is also conjecturing. हमको बोलते हैं ना, आप सबूत बताओ जी कि वो कौन सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने पहलगाम किया था. So till today, nobody has given us a proof. Neither President Trump nor Bibi Netanyahu has given a proof saying that they are actually made a nuclear bomb, they're making a nuclear bomb or atomic bomb. So the fact is, we are all conjecturing that they were doing it. We are believing what has been fed to us by the Western media that they were in. Ayatollah had said that as per Islam, it is the making a bomb of this kind is not allowed in Islam. You can say Pakistan has made it, to Pakistan is also Islamic country. There's a part, but that's Ayatollah had said, and he's been saying this often from 2003 onwards. Now, I will take a step back and we'll ask the others also know that everybody needs to curb some enthusiasm. We are in a hurry to say that the Americans have been able to destroy everything which has been possible to do so. There are other facilities like something called Salah, which is not come into vogue here, which is also a place where many things are kept, and Salah will come up into some kind of things. What is the success story? What is in future which you're asking? Will the regime change? The Ayatollah has been on from 89 onwards, I'm not wrong, and he is also Ayatollah is also 86 years old. He's not getting any younger. But the fact is that what happened? A regime change? Is a regime change possible if they're talking about regime change? Well, there's no guarantee. The nation can now rally against the Ayatollah. Iran is not a monolithic unit or monolithic country. There are people who are opposing voices. There are moderates. There are youth. There are people who are fanatically Islamic. So there is a mixture of all of them. At this juncture, when they've been hit by America and they know it and there is war going on, I don't think internally one can think about
Okay.
having a regime change. It won't happen. I think he'll stick on there. Maybe I'll say this strike may further entrench the Islamic regime there. To now expect a change may become increasingly difficult hereafter. Second point here is, will
Yeah.
they do something to the oil industry, Straits of Hormuz? Everybody's saying, okay, they can mine the Straits of Hormuz, and Admiral Sinha, who's a Ustad, will be able to answer
Yes,
better.
I'll ask
But it
him
is
that.
not
Yes.
not an easy question to do so. So I think I just made a base of what I was thinking,
Okay.
and we can discuss
Yes.
it subsequently.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
Dr.
I
Roshan.
would thank you, General Sharma. Now, to continue this thing forward, I would like to bring in Admiral Sinha. Admiral Sinha, as General Sharma pointed out, that the submarines were used to launch the Tomahawk cruise missile, and the Tomahawk cruise missile had hit Isfahan and Natanz. Now, this is a very important cruise missile because we have to learn a lesson for us also, because the Pakistani Babar is a reverse engineering of this Tomahawk cruise missile. So there is some indicator there. We can see how it is worked. So my question is now that the US has placed its 3 aircraft carriers, submarines. They all have been positioned in the region. And for example, I'll just, if we can show this. Yeah, we can see this, that they have the, how at 3 places they are going to do that. And these are the bases, if we see, which shows where American things are there. So I want to ask you, do they have the capabilities to hit the American bases? And what are they going to do now? What will be their next step? Are they going to escalate it just by hitting the Israelis, or they're going to escalate it by hitting the American bases? Or they are not going to escalate at all? What are your views on that?
Thank you, Dr. Roshan, for inviting me, and along with such very distinguished colleagues who have great respect in the field of geopolitical analysis and West Asia. Dr. Meena Roy is our, uh, shall I say, the most respected academician. The two questions that you have asked, they are tough ones. Will they attack? Now, the Iranians are also in bit of dilemma, because if they don't, then the public is going to become very uneasy. Iranians are very self-respecting people. It's a civilization, and they have a lot of pride in their own. If you ask them, any Iranian, if you ask them, are you Islamic person? Are you Muslim? They'll say, no, I'm Persian, because this is the pride they take in the Persian civilization, which was very very shall I say advanced civilization as far as knowledge is concerned, and personal pride. So I would say that this is going to be a difficult choice. If they hit an American base, the retaliation by America can be very very massive, and it will open into a very bigger war. So that has to be taken into account. Will they hit a Israeli base? Well, Israel they are hitting in any case. Now, obviously, a lot of their weapons have got consumed or they have been demolished. Some of the fire control systems have been bombed so that they cannot use that system even if they have it. So I would say that a lot will depend on how much Iranians take the American threat into account. The American threat is that you retaliate and you hit any of my bases, you had it. And I can tell you that they will go ahead and do it. They couldn't care now that he has broken one promise that he will not engage himself in war. He will break every other promise, because President Trump will say something now, something later. He just opposite the next morning, as General Sharma rightly pointed out, because he is only predictable that he is unpredictable. That's the only predictability that one can say. So I would say that Iran attacking an American base, as an analyst, I would say it is unlikely, because the repercussions can be very, very heavy and the war can become big. Then what will happen is, then you might see even Russia jumping into this. He's already given some sort of warning that stop it, cool down. China also hasn't said anything, but let me tell you, the Chinese uh, transport aircraft have flown to Tehran 3-4 days back in some other places, and they've offloaded a lot of weapon systems and the ammunition which the the Iranians are using. So that is the first one. The second point is, that's coming. I'll come back to my location of the Straits of Hormuz, if you don't mind. Or did you want anything else in this? Some more question on that? The second question
No,
was.
if you would like to comment on anything, how this thing is going to pan out, what
Okay.
are your views?
See, my view that how it is going to pan out, we have to wait at least for a couple of days to see what is the result of the bombing which they have done. As General Sharma said, there is a difference of wording as far as the Joint Chiefs of Staff is concerned and what the President has said. So, but I can tell you that when they say we will wait for some time, what is called the Battle Damage Assessment, the BDA, that will take place and they will publish it. That is one good thing about the Americans. These things they will make it public, because if you saw the press conference, there were a lot of questions being asked. They are not like Sharma says that पूछते हैं कि कहाँ से आया, क्या हुआ. Similar questions were being asked in Washington as well. Of course, Hexet is a little bit arrogant in answering some of them, but then he is the defense secretary of the most powerful armed forces in the world. So he has reasons to be, and himself is a former Marine. So obviously I can understand. So I would say that regime change, no. To be very honest, the Americans would like the Ayatollah to remain there. Because he solves a lot of purpose, so that one section of people in Iran who are not very pro Ayatollah, they can be sort of fed, and they are already in the hands of CIA. They can do some subversion. They can do many things. In fact, that section wants actually Ayatollah to go. The second part is, as far as the other Arab countries are concerned, to be very honest, nobody is concerned. They are just not bothered what is happening in Iran, because they feel the Saudis feel, at many times they have said that Hamas is brought bad name to Islam. Hamas has branded Islam as a terrorist sort of organized, not terrorist religion, and our Islam is not like that. UAE is just sort of maintaining very neutral position. They might just raise voice once in a while, de-escalate this, that. But to be honest, their heart is not there. The heart is not there. They don't mind what is happening. In fact, they will be very worried if it escalates, or if it comes to some nuclear stuff, then the entire Arab world is going to get affected by the contamination. There's no doubt. And the winds are generally on that area. I've operated many times. The winds are generally favorable for the contamination to move from the Iranian land into the other side of the Gulf. So which is bad. Coming back to this mining, the it's quite funny that there are no regulations as such by UN as far as the usage of the straits and straits and other things are concerned, narrow passages. What happens is that there is as per the UNCLOS, this is declared as a public passage. It means everybody can use it. Now, who owns it? If you go by the UNCLOS, the territorial water and things like that, in the north it is Iran, and in the south is called the Musaddan enclave, which actually belongs to one of the states of of Oman. Oman has full other control, but they have a separate governor and a separate state. So it actually belongs to them. So if you take the 12 nautical mile stuff, at the narrowest point it is 21 nautical miles. So obviously it is sealed. It is sealed by these two countries' claims. Otherwise, the passage is about almost 80-90 kilometers long, and from there you have this traffic separation scheme. And for the very the ships which are very deep in draft, particularly the VLCC, they can only use about 3.5 nautical miles of passage, because otherwise the depth of water on the outer side is not so much. and therefore they normally remain in that 3.5. Now the problem what they can create is they can harass the American ships which are based in Bahrain, either ones which are coming or they are going out. Attacking everybody, closing the passage, I would say that it is not possible because it will hurt Iran also. Iran's own oil is being transported from there. China does a lot of trade with the Gulf countries, and China is importer of, world's almost 20% of, oil comes from this area to various countries. And funny thing is, the world's fastest growing economies, like India, China, Japan, and South Korea, not the fastest growing, but these four are big economies. All of them are short on oil. तो
Yes.
भगवान सब कुछ नहीं देता है. He given you a country to make, but they all import oil from this area only. So I think that it'll be very tough for Iran to do that. Though they have been threatening, I have seen some threats messages. But I would think that that should not. Then what will happen? The whole world is descend upon Iran and diplomatically try and diffuse the situation, which I think the time has come. They should start doing now. Otherwise, this can spill into a slightly bigger war. Will it remain a regional war? Yes, it will. I don't think that any country is going to jump into this because they have seen, how will Russia jump in? But Russia cannot say very much. They themselves are involved in Ukraine. For no reason they have gone inside. So, this is very, China. China is actively supporting Iran. So these two countries cannot, morally it is not correct for them to start preaching. And certainly not India. Because
Yes.
we just had our own trouble, and of course President Trump is claiming that he has diffused it.
Yeah.
So I would say that this is really you will have to make a very calculated guess that it should remain, and I hope it does remain. But to say that anything will happen, Iran will respond. If Iran responds, it might hit the Israeli targets, and certainly not because most of the bases of America are actually in Arab countries.
Yes. I agree with you.
They are all
What you're saying.
connected. Yeah.
Yes, I
So,
quite agree with you.
so that is all I have to say, really.
Yeah, but here I would like to call in Dr. Meena Roy. A lot of been said about Iran's regime change. I mean, all of us think that it will not be possible. What you have to say about it, and any other point what you need to add for what we were discussing initially, your views.
Can't hear you, Meena. We can't hear you.
You're muted. Yeah.
Huh.
Now? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I said thank you so much, Roshan, for organizing a very timely debate. And I think most of the questions that are being debated on various channels is what next? Will there be a regime change? But I think if we look at it, I would like to look at it from a different perspective, in a sense. What has happened has happened. It was expected that something is going to happen. He said 60 days, but he offered something to Iran which a country like Iran would never ever accept. When you tell a country like Iran, which people are very resilient, they are very proud people, you can't impose anything on a civilization like Iran. So that is one point. The second point is how this is going to be played out now. So the first point, regime change, I think everybody says the regime will not, but why? I personally feel that yes, there's a lot of discontent, and particularly when you talk to the people, it is the youth, the younger generation, which hasn't seen what happened and what they went through the revolution period and thereafter Iran-Iraq war. They have their own likes and dislikes, and let's accept that the youth would not want to be put in a certain bracket and not being allowed to do things which they would love. They all of them want to go to Europe and US. What has this attack by Israel, followed by an American, done to the people in Iran is that they are united today. I am constantly in touch with people in both the countries. I have friends everywhere. So internet is working even in Iran and there actually with the common people that I'm talking. So regime is weakened today. Hezbollah, Hamas, and other Houthis also have been weakened. But will this push Iran to have a deal? I think for now, for short term, the answer would be no. How this is played out in coming days, we will have to wait and watch. The third thing is, let us look at the internal compulsions of Iran today. If I have to compare the GDP growth of Iran vis-a-vis Europe, the Iran wasn't doing too bad. Yes, the only problem I would say was when we see the depreciating real, so that was one big issue. And we also see the hardship of the people, even for buying normal stuff that they have to buy. So those are real internal issues which the Iran is fighting today. But the war is a situation where they would be willing to sacrifice. Let's look at how Shia martyrdom and their religious what do I call it, culture within each one of them. They would be willing to die today. I mean, there is a lot of people who are leaving also Iran. It is not that people are not leaving Tehran or they're not going to different places. So I think the internal dynamics today is something which has brought the people together. How it will be played out later, the difficulties which the regime will face is a different question altogether. But at this point in time, I don't think the Iranians would surrender. Whether they are going to hit the American targets, we really don't know. Whatever is discussed, in the National Security Council of theirs, and what decision they take. But I don't think they want to inflict any damage regionally, because there's been a paradigm shift. Even if we look at the regional context today, yes, Iran has to fight, its own battle. Whether it is Saudi Arabia, whether it is UAE, whether Qatar, Oman, all of them don't want this war to be, escalating to the region, because that is very damaging for them as well. But one thing which is very different today is that at least they are vocal, condemning the kind of attack which has happened on Iran. So I think that is a different point that we need to take into account. Iran is definitely has faced a major blow militarily, but is it weak enough to surrender? The answer is no. Regionally, people will talk about it, but I personally feel Iran is being helped indirectly. Russia and China, I think both General Sharma and Admiral Sinha said that they would provide them the weapons and stuff like that. But I don't think, if you listen to the Vilayat Faqih, the supreme leader's statement today, he very categorically said that neither peace nor war can be imposed, on us. We don't accept, surrenders like this. So I think those are some points that we need to keep in mind when we are talking about these things. The implications would be very, very phenomenal and bad, I would say, for the entire world. So there is going to be this whole push to what extent the international community will be able to, bring about the de-escalation, and let's see.
I would like to bring in General Sharma here. You also wanted to talk about something before. But before you talk about that, I want to ask you two questions. Firstly, there's a lot of views about the Iran might use its proxies to work in the region. So, and there can be a non-contact kind of a warfare. So, if you can highlight on that issue, are they going to do that? And secondly, General Sharma, are you seeing that it is a kind of a unipolar world, where America, through their narrative of maintaining peace by destroying Iran's nuclear facility, is trying to shape the world? Is it the history repeating itself? Only the players have been changed? Because if we see both the Chinese and the Russians, they have diplomatically condemned, but till now they are not coming into direct confrontation. Probably, I think they should not also, because the escalation level probably has not gone to that level for them to interfere. And there are also a lot of views going on that the Chinese think that the US involvement in the Middle East will benefit the China, and similarly, if the oil prices go out, the Russians will also benefit. But those are the other voices which are coming out. So I would like you to talk about some of them which you want, and then Admiral Sinha can comment on the others.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Roshan. Now, let me start from some of the issues that come to my mind now after the discussion that has happened, and a very rich discussion took place. What Admiral Sinha and what Meena had spoken, and the question that you have been rightly raising. First is that a military success does not always translate into political success. In fact, to achieve political success, military successes may be counterproductive. So, to say that even if they have succeeded, and Americans have succeeded in doing something, does not mean that they are politically successful. Iran may still continue its program in whichever form, in surreptitious manner. In fact, it may get more impetus to do so in more surreptitious manner in case it was going ahead with the nuclear program. So, this might give the impetus to go ahead, and it may not be a deterrent enough. That's one point. Second, what did President Trump come up into this chair? He came out with with his own prognosis of non-intervention. He spoke in Saudi Arabia, I think a month and a half ago, and in the speech he said that it was highly critical of military interventions. That speech, and I remember it clearly. He said, military interventions are not the answer. This is a flip flop for what he spoke about 1 month ago. Of course, he says many things, so everything doesn't have to be taken. Most things will have to be taken pinch of salt. Third is that he also came up on the premise of bringing peace. In 24 hours, there will be peace in Ukraine. Then he said 100 days. Then he said peace will be there. India, Pakistan, I brokered the peace. And in Palestine, there will be peace. So his peace and so-called noble ambitions are nowhere around. Yeah, he has entered into a war. So he stops being a peacenik. His whole following in the country of being non-interventionism and America first, everything, we won't get involved. Finally, what happens to the transactional President Trump, where everything was a business entity? Here you have got involved into something which may be open-ended. As rightly pointed out, there are 40,000 American troops in that area. There are 19 bases they've got on this area. All will be on tenterhooks today. The Iranians may not target it, but that fear is there. Now they target it. So those are very important issues here, and which actually, and I think I found very interesting remark made by Secretary Pete Hegseth just now, where he says that we have channels of communication open with Iran even now, which are some official and some unofficial. This he says 1 hour ago, which means they are already working toward de-escalating mode. Okay, Iran has already struck Israel very big way, the 20th strike that they have done in 7-8 days, but they have not touched the Americans at all. They said, okay, you've done it. So there are channels of communication open saying that let's call it a day and not do it. So I think that's one part of the story. Will Iran use proxies? So I think, the proxies are in difficult trouble. The only one that has made a little noise today is the Houthis. Houthis came up with a statement today saying that, we will join up and we will help, on some kind of vague statement. As it is when Houthis, that spokesperson speaks, he's got excessive josh. So, you start thinking, wo bol kya raha hai? So the fact of the matter is that I don't think the proxies have got much left after the Israelis have done what they have done to Hezbollah, to Hamas, and also to Houthi. So I think to ask them to sponsor some additional activities, I don't think this is possible. I'll also take up an issue on the unipolar part of it. While it might seem that Americans did act on their own, and it showed a unipolar world of the 90s, the world is no more unipolar. They have the power, they have very strong military, they have targeted a nation, Iran, because they wanted also to support Israelis. But the world is not unipolar. I would say that where does the unipolarity other than the military field the Americans can exercise today? Not even economically, not even getting Europe to their side. Europe is discussing with Iranian foreign ministers separately in Switzerland. There, and neither the Russians are talking different language, as you rightly pointed out, Chinese different language. There is no unipolarity at all. In fact, I won't even say it is a multipolar world. I think that is also excessive. It is jiski lathi uski bas. It's a question of, I have the power, I'll do what I want to do. And then I am only looking totally, India too, we are totally transactional. We are looking at our national interest. Every region, every country in the world is looking after anything. In that, to get that transaction, it is advantage to maintain relations with the United States, fine. Like Munir has done. If it is not fine, okay, fine, you take a step back. So I don't think the unipolarity, even multilateralism, I think one of the organizations that can simply wind up and throw the key away is United Nations Security Council. Throw the key away. We're paying money for nuts here. So I think talking about a world order and unipolar, I think it is too early. There is no world order. There is no past, no rules base. It is all evolving. It may take 20 years, may take 50 years to evolve, but presently it is just that they had the military power and they used it, and they wanted to use a demonstrative purpose, and they are now wanting to take a step back and telling Iranians, please don't get involved. What we have done to you is all right. You want to hit Israel, you please carry on. We leave you leave us alone. My view.
Very rightly pointed out, General Sharma, because what is emerging is might is right, and every country is using that. The stronger one is using it over the less stronger one. That is what is happening, whether we see other parts of the world. So I would like to bring in Admiral Sinha here. Admiral Sinha, we were talking about diplomacy, and the foreign minister of Iran is going to talk to, I think, the Russian president tomorrow. Prime Minister Modi also spoke to the Iranian president. So there are certain steps which are being taken to de-escalate these maneuvers. So what are your views? How it is going to progress? Will the diplomatic community will try to de-escalate it in near future, or you think that it will escalate to a certain level and then it will start de-escalation? So what would be those steps where the escalation level will reach and then it starts de-escalation? Have it started? The escalation level, what Iran wanted by hitting today, it had really hit Israel quite severely with its very potent ballistic missiles. So do you think that now the escalation will stop and the de-escalation, or it will carry on for 1 or 2 days and then the de-escalation process will start? Your views?
I think the much will depend on what decision Iran takes for itself. Who does he want to hit? My sense is that at least on the Israeli targets, they will continue to hit, because the arsenal which they are using, most of them are Chinese and they are all already being supplied. Plus, I was told that somewhere I read the number of ballistic missiles they have was 2,500, and only 500 or something has been used so far. So I think that on that account, but let me also tell you, the economy of war is, phenomenal. And they are not very well-to-do countries at the moment, both Iranian and the Israelis. Even Israelis are quite short in money. Their economy is not very good. And I think that one of the reasons why the Americans had to pitch in, possibly Netanyahu went absolutely shall I say, crying that, we are in a grief, and, if we don't have anything to give it back to the Iranians, so please take their nuclear facilities out. So I think that economy of war does not favor the situation for war to escalate any further. And I would think that, the efforts which are being made, uh, through the diplomatic channel and undiplomatic channel and track two, as Hexet had also said. But, the one point I want to make, the unipolarity effectively means that how many countries can you influence? What is your sphere of influence? And I think that America's sphere of influence is shrinking by the day. It has shrunk very much, and therefore, every time the threat of force or threat of tariff as far as the economy is concerned, that is being used. But this is very natural. When you are uncertain about your position tomorrow and you are at the top, you want to retain that top position. And everybody is knocking on your door. Hey, come on, get off. It's my place. Economy wise China, and military wise virtually everybody, including China. They are all watching. They are watching how is the weapon systems of America working. How did they carry out this attack? How did they achieve the full air superiority? And of course, Israeli aircraft also were airborne in the same formation, 120 aircraft, as General Sharma mentioned. So this is a big lesson for everybody, those who are watching, particularly China and Russia. They're watching very carefully. I would think that even China and Russia will help in the process of de-escalation, because if China does not help and it keeps fueling the fire, then Iran might get encouraged, because as Dr. Meena Roy said, they are very proud people. They are very proud of the civilization, and they are not going to, back out and bow down just like that. They have never done it. They will not do it. So, and they will lay their life, that they can do. So, I would think that sphere of influence of America is not what it used to be. And now everybody is looking for his own sphere. China is looking for his own sphere. India is looking for our own sphere, because we know that we cannot have a worldwide sphere, but we can have a sphere in the Indian Ocean region, in our own region, and which we have by virtue of our diplomacy, by virtue of our help that we render. First one, we are the preferred responder, and we always go to help people. So this is actually speaking. I would think that for even for multipolarity to emerge, I mean, very clear emergence of multipolarity is going to take some time. But in that period, we have to make sure that our sphere of influence continues to grow, and our so-called adversaries, they should know that in this area, particularly Indian Ocean region, they dare not do any harm to Indian interest, because then the reciprocal can be very, very tough for those countries. Both Pakistan and China. Pakistan, I have always called it Pakistan autonomous region of China. Nothing belongs to Pakistan. The economy, the money, the military, the equipment, उसका अपना कुछ भी नहीं है. And therefore it is as good as autonomous region, and it suits China. It suits China because he follows that Sun Tzu, win a war without fighting. So somebody else is doing the fighting. Govern without governance. I'm sure Mullah Munir has been pulled up that why have you allowed American aircraft to use your base? Already Pasni has been with the Americans, and now Pasni has become out of bounds for the Pakistanis also. They are operating. They are touching down. They have touched down. In fact, 2 days prior to this attack, they have done a lot of surveillance sorties flying from Pasni. So,
Yes.
if that is what the lunch is going to cost, then God bless Pakistan. That's all I will say. Pakistan autonomous region. So now Mullah is in very bad, position. I would like to be there. Iranians are saying, why have you permitted them? Because you are a Muslim country. All these days you have stood by me. But he is making a statement. Today, the Deputy Prime Minister of Pakistan, you know what he said? We are a very successful hybrid governance. Can you imagine hybrid governance? ये पहली बार सुना मैंने. But he's right. He's absolutely right. Thank God he has accepted it as a hybrid governance. So this is हम बात करेंगे तो किससे बात करेंगे, वही बात है, एक दूसरे में तो वहां पे कोई समन्वय है नहीं. So I would think that, de-escalation process should start, and I hope it starts. And I would give another 48 hours, as everybody say, to see that what is the reaction, and that will dictate most of the follow-up, because America may not get involved, American bases may not be hit, but America will help Israel not to get beaten up. It has already said he is an ally, and like no other ally has done it so far. So what Trump says, we have to look at some fine lines, and these are the lines which have been given to him by the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary Rubio. On his own, he can mess it up. So all these are given to him in writing, is made to practice, and he says it. So on this account, I would say that it's very difficult to guess now at the moment.
Dr. Meena, I would like to ask you that how do you feel that this de-escalation process, how it will start? Will the regional countries put little bit of pressure also? They will come together. Will that a possibility? And the second thing I wanted to ask you was, there was a kind of Russia, China, Iran, Turkey kind of a group which was coming up. So do you think that will get a little bit of diluted because of this, or it will get strengthened? Your views on last few comments.
Thank you. I think how this is going to be unfolding, the de-escalation word that we've been talking about. Everybody has been preaching Iran that de-escalate, do this, but I think looking from the Iranian perspective,
Yes.
till they get something, to show to their people that they can protect their country and their people, I think de-escalation will be, it is already in process. Foreign minister went to Europe, foreign minister went to Turkey, foreign minister is in Moscow, and I'm sure there is a discussion going on between them and China as well. So what is going to be the middle path which will not escalate this conflict to the region? And as far as I said before, also the regional actors, verbally, yes, nobody wants it, but what are they willing to offer Iran? I think that is the critical question. And so the bottom line is the ball is in Iran's court today. How Iran reacts to what has happened today morning is something which would finally set the things unrolling as to what would be the course of action that they would be taking. But I do feel that there is going to be a lot of pressure on Iran. But a lot of people will say, but who is going to be more effective in this context is what will finally, I think, decide the course of de-escalation. Now, Turkey is being very vocal. Turkey is also, Erdogan has his own ambition. Their relations with Israel are not that good. And as far as the United States is concerned, here, Erdogan has been trying to champion the cause of the Muslim world. So he has been very, very, vocal about, using the words like Hitler's and stuff like that. But I think ultimately, US, Russia, China, these three countries will be very, very important. And to what extent China and Russia would be, advising Iran. And finally, as I said, it is ultimately Iran which will not be satisfied unless they take some action to show to their people. So this is what would probably decide as to what we see unfolding. It may not. Let's see how it is very difficult to predict anything when we are talking about this region. One has to be prepared for the strategic surprises in the region, and that is what we've seen in most of the cases. But we are dealing with the country which has been a victim from their perspective. And if you look at it from the Israeli perspective, they feel, there are internal reasons, there are external reasons, and there are many other reasons of their insecurity, and particularly the personality factor, the leadership. Prime Minister Netanyahu has been talking about hitting Iran for such a long time, but it never happened. So this is the right time when Iran is weak. So it has worked out well for him, and President Trump is there to fully support them, and US will always and will continue to be standing on with Israel.
We'll just take few questions. There is one question by
Roshan,
Mr.
can I call off? I have another event to attend.
Okay. Okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Roshan. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so
Thank you,
much.
Meena.
Thanks. We'll just take one or two questions. One is that the same about the proxy war, that a lot of this groups and their commanders, Hamas and others, sitting in Qatar right next to CENTCOM. So this is what the proxy war is going to work or not. I mean, if you want to comment on that.
You want me to? I think as far as the Iranian proxies are concerned, I think General Sharma or Admiral Sinha made it very clear that yes, there was a statement from the Houthis saying they are going to target the American ships in there. But they are weakened, but I don't rule out the possibility of them doing smaller things, and it will not be restricted only to the region. It may go beyond. We don't know where those sleeper cells are, who would want to do such things. So in the long term, I think there's a serious question about the safety of Jewish people and the American people.
Admiral Sinha, would you like to add something?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm absolutely right. The ability or capability of particularly Hamas and Hezbollah right now to react with some, shall I say, massive firepower is very doubtful, because they have really been marginalized to a very large extent. Houthis can do it. There is no doubt about that. But I heard a comment, I think it was by Hexet, that Iran or any of your proxy organizations, if they take any action, the Americans will react. Particularly if it happens in the open passageway such as Red Sea. If they start hitting something in Red Sea, then they are in for a lot of punishment, because then the whole world will get after them, and you saw what happened. Oil prices will go up, the ships will have to reroute through the Cape of Good Hope and things like that. But here, Houthis have said, they have made some statement, but I think that to make any effective contribution to this entire conflict which is going on, the ability of the proxies is very, very limited right now. Obviously, Iran will be blamed. There's no doubt about that. Iran will always be blamed, because these are the three proxy organizations which are being fed by Iran. Whatever they say publicly, they're all Iranian proxies. So I would think that chances of all proxies who are sitting in the quarter, as the question says, coming up together. In this time frame, it looks a little unlikely to me. Houthis, yes. Hamas, no. They will be butchered by the Israelis. They have already been butchered to a large extent. And as far as the Hezbollah is concerned, they have been defanged to very, very large extent. So that is what I would think. And Iran will certainly be blamed for that.
Yeah. Any last comment from you, Meena, and then Admiral Sinha? Any last comment you want to give? Please unmute your mic.
Completely agree with Admiral Sinha that the proxies have been weakened and they may not. But in long term, I think we will see more hatred, more such, singular attacks on, people. That is what it will probably not stop. That kind of a, lone wolf kind of an attack will probably happen. Given whatever we are seeing in Gaza and now in Iran, so such things. But for now, I think he's very right. They would not want to do. Houthis, we don't know what they will do, and it is already, completely destroyed, country. It's a failed state. Do they really bother? I mean, they had a deal with the Americans that they would not hit the American, but today the situation is completely different. How this is going to be played out, I don't think anybody can predict with 100% of surety.
Admiral Sinha, your last
Yeah.
comment.
I can just make one little wild guess, and she's absolutely right. One wild guess that the possibility, because the Iranian foreign minister has said that America has now invited for a very long term impact of this. So I wouldn't be surprised if little bit of lone wolf or terror activity uh, begins to harm the American interest. Israeli, yes, American interest, and we will have to see. We particularly am, if Houthis are the only ones who can do something, then the American ships and the Israeli ships in Red Sea can become very vulnerable. And lone wolf attack even on land bases, particularly in the West Asian bases or in the open places, I can't rule out, because let's go back to slightly 30, 40 years back. Iran created all these organizations, the terrorist organizations, really, there's no doubt about that. And therefore, that ability of Iran to act in a manner where it can do some terror activity by proxy groups or those who are highly radicalized individuals, I cannot rule out that possibility. They still have that department in their own the government. So that is what I would say.
I just wanted to add one quick comment, and if you can respond to that, Admiral Sinha. Suppose Iran retaliates and escalation level increases, and Israel finds it difficult to escalate further. So, do you think that US will come to the help of Israel in the second round? If that
Always.
happens, because we are seeing that Iran's attack on Israel has increased quite a bit, and they're using stronger ballistic missiles in this. And so, if it hits Israel where Iran wants them, that it should hit. So, do you think that US will again come to the Israeli support? Because then again, a different kind of a ballgame will again emerge.
Exactly. In fact, Israel today very openly, President Trump has said that Israel is an ally, like no other ally. And therefore, it is incumbent that the much more talk would have taken place between Bibi Netanyahu and President Trump. And then you will find there will be activity from the nuclear submarines and the destroyers intercepting the missiles coming from Iran. We have not heard of that news yet. That might become more demonstrative and more active. Then you might just hear that US will take the credit that yes, we have shot down so many of their ballistic missiles, and we wanted to protect Iran to Israel. So that is one. But you are right. It is quite a big possibility. US may not respond by attacking Iranian interests directly, but it will certainly do many things to defend Israel. The good thing is that they are not they are 1,500 kilometers apart, so that is one good thing. But at least whatever has to travel, either a drone or anything, and in between you see that the Pakistan has been roped into this for this reason only. So there is quite possible that some of the US assets will be positioned in Pasni, from where it becomes slightly easier to intercept the drones being launched from Iran, which is much closer, kill them even before they have reached anywhere near Israel. So this is a big possibility, and I can see
Yes.
that Pasni will soon have, some kind of American, what shall I say, the higher firepower elements positioned in Pakistan. It's going to happen, and that discussion is already taking place in the public domain. And the press is quite open in Pakistan; they're not secretive, and they are saying that how come he has gone and done this deal. So the president has come to the rescue. The president of Pakistan said, no, it was only for humanitarian cause to which I have given my okay. So, it has already become that, the what is called, what he has, the Prime Minister said, we are a hybrid government. So he has already passed this from military to passed it to the civil government. So this is how it is. And I think that if Iran continues, then I would say that Pakistan will remain engaged. Their bases will remain engaged for quite some time in future.
Thank you so much. And Meena,
just
yeah,
just
but
one point,
I also wanted to say that you rightly pointed out that Iran wants to show something to its public, so the escalation level might go a little bit. I mean, de-escalation may not start so easily.
Straight
and yes,
away.
you wanted to say something. Please do.
No, I think Admiral Sinha's point on Pakistan, the irony is, with the United States, that there is a terrorist state and you need help from the terrorist state. You don't recognize them as a terrorist state. Rather, you pump in money to them to
Yes.
buy them,
Yeah.
for your own use, and they are willing to sell themselves. So what do you do in
Yeah.
a situation? It's
Like-
very, very hilarious situation where what I see, you shake hands with Julani, say he's a tough man. Here you say, so
Yeah.
those double standards are very much part and parcel of the superpower, that they are. Anyway, I would like to.
As they say, the international relation, the only thing permanent is the national interest. Rest is all,
Exactly.
only for demonstration. That's it.
For sure.
And I think,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
And it has been said to be an American friend is very tiring. I mean,
it's fatal.
it's very fatal. It has been
Henry
told.
Kissinger said, if you're a friend of America, then it is fatal. And if
Yes.
you're an enemy, then it is dangerous.
Dangerous.
So that is
Yeah,
what.
because they know where to go, but with friends they don't know. So
It's
probably,
power,
but thank you.
Dr. Roshan. It is all power. They
It
have the
is.
economic power, they have
Strength.
the military power, and they don't want they don't want to be replaced by China or China Russia combined.
Yes.
And that is why I said that China and Russia are watching very well. How are they going to straighten out somebody who's not willing to come in your fold? This is what
I
this
hope,
is.
yes, I hope China and Russia, they also do what is required from them. I mean, all the countries, they come together
Yeah,
and try to solve this problem and push
yeah.
both the countries to come to the negotiation table, because nothing is solved through war. But thank you so much, Admiral Sinha and Meena.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Quite nice. You anchored very well.